So we have conquered lupus, the prototype. Now we need to talk about the family. Now we are profiling the autoimmune cousins of SLE. We are looking at two distinct pathologies, Sjogren syndrome and systemic sclerosis. From dry eyes to hardened skin, let's break down the mechanics of PA 9.7. We call them cousins because they share the same autoimmune roots as lupus, but their personality is different. We have two main paths today. Path A is Sjogren syndrome. I call this the destroyer of moisture. It targets the glands. Path B is systemic sclerosis, also known as scleroderma. This is the fibrosis factory. It targets connective tissue. Let's start with cousin number 1, Sjogren. What is the mechanism? Look at this slide. Lymphocytic infiltration. It's an invasion. CD4 plus T cells attack the exocrine glands, specifically the lacrimal or the tear glands and salivary or the spit glands. The equation here is immune destruction causes glandular dysfunction. If you kill the gland, you can't make the fluid. This leads to the hallmark clinical representation, the Sicca complex. The two major complaints in these patients are keratoconjunctivitis sicca. That's medical speak for dry eyes. Patients describe it as a gritty sandpaper feeling or like there is dirt in their eyes. Xerostomia, dry mouth. They have trouble swallowing dry food like crackers and have fissures in the tongue. How do we tag this suspect? We look at the serology. We are looking for two specific antibodies against ribonucleoproteins, anti-SSA, also called Rho, and anti-SSB, also called La. Remember, SS stands for Sjogren syndrome. If you see Rho and La, think Sjogren. But here is a warning. This isn't just about dry eyes. Sjogren syndrome has a dark side. These patients have a 40-fold increased risk of developing B-cell lymphoma. If your patient with long-standing Sjogren suddenly develops a unilateral enlargement of the parotid gland, biopsy it immediately. That is cancer until proven otherwise. Now let's switch to cousin number 2, systemic sclerosis. Sclero means hard, derma means skin. This is a fibrosis factory. It runs on a deadly triad: autoimmunity, vascular damage, and massive fibrosis or collagen deposition. We classify this agent into two types based on how much skin is involved. Diffuse scleroderma is everywhere. Widespread skin involvement and early visceral organ damage is seen. For example, in lungs, kidneys, everywhere. Limited scleroderma is restricted, usually just the fingers and face. This one is slower and more benign. For the limited form, remember the acronym CREST. C is for calcinosis, calcium deposits. R is Raynaud's phenomenon, blue fingers in cold. E is esophageal dysmotility, you can't swallow. S is sclerodactyly, skin of fingers gets tight. And T is telangiectasia, red spots on skin. How do we distinguish them in the lab? For diffuse, look for anti-SCL70 against DNA topoisomerase 1. SCL is for scleroderma. And for limited or CREST, look for anti-centromere. The memory hook here is centromere is for CREST. Look at these clinical signatures on the slide. This is what fibrosis looks like. Mask-like face. The skin is so tight, they lose their facial wrinkles and expressions. The mouth opening becomes small. That is microstomia. Claw-like hands. We call this sclerodactyly. The fingers contract and curl because the skin is too tight to move. Time for the showdown. Let's compare them side by side. The primary target. Sjogren hits glands, scleroderma hits connective tissue. Key antibodies in Sjogren is Rho and La, and scleroderma is SCL70 or centromere. Major feature of Sjogren is dryness, while that of scleroderma is hardening. Major risk of Sjogren is lymphoma, whereas that of scleroderma is renal crisis and pulmonary fibrosis. So here's your final review. Snapshot this for exam. Sjogren's is dry eyes, dry mouth, anti-rolla, and watch for lymphoma, and diffuse scleroderma, widespread fibrosis plus anti-SCL70. Limited scleroderma, CREST syndrome plus anti-centromere.